one thing about me and one thing about just life, period, we know how to pivot and we know how to make things shake and we know how to shift and we know how to get up out of there at any moment. Like, oh, actually, I don't like this. So let me go. Yeah. It's your girl, Ariel Simone. Welcome back to another Full Cup episode where we pour into mind, body, soul. These are intentional conversations around growth, self-care, development, love, confidence, stepping into who we say we want to be. All good things, y'all. I'm just so excited. To be honest, every episode I'm really excited. I'm so excited for this episode because it is all about looking at the way that we grow. Honestly, looking at growth, honestly reflecting on who we are and how we show up and how to step into alignment, how to step into purpose, into better, how to unpack and heal certain traumas. So it might get a little heavy. It might be a heavy girl, but I do think that all of us can learn something new from this and we can learn a lot about ourselves and how to look at ourselves from a space of you gotta grow and from a space of I forgive you and also from a space that I love you, and I love you comes with self-reflection and it comes with growth. So we stepping into more. No, seriously. So y'all grab your drink. Make sure it's something hydrating, something refreshing, something that feels really, really good. This is just fresh water. Nothing too crazy. I just needed water today. I had a really busy weekend and water is just like, girl, this all you need, this all you want. So if you are new here, we are reading the book When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. Oh, and if this is your first episode watching this, highly recommend watching the other episodes. It leads us up to this chapter in a very beautiful way. And I just noticed on the back, it said, healing is not a one-time event. Love that, because it really is a journey. It really is. Okay, so the chapter that we are on now, I'm excited. Okay. Calm down. So the chapter we are on now is the 7 psychological biases that are making you resist your own growth. I keep going. Growth is hard. Sometimes it's downright terrifying. It requires us to take an honest look at ourselves, to abandon what we've known, and to suspend ourselves in uncertainty without knowing when we'll ever find the next step. What this means is that we will remain what we have always been unless we consciously choose to become something else. Sure, everyone evolves and adapts over time, but if you aren't intentional about it, you'll end up the product of who and what is around you as opposed to an authentic expression of who you really are. Growth is a required assignment. Keep going. The only question is when we do it and how long it takes for us to realize that we often have to defy some of our instincts in order to create a better reality for ourselves. Here are a few of those unconscious fears that prevent us from becoming all that we possibly can be and how they might specifically be affecting you. Okay, let's see. Number 1, in the same way that too much of a dessert can overwhelm the taste buds and become unappealing, we reject intense emotional highs when we aren't used to them. Gay Hendricks, author of The Big Leap, calls this hitting your upper limit. Oh, wait, I really love that book because it goes in about operating from your zone of genius, which is a space where you are doing great. And whatever you're already good at, you're becoming greater at because you're operating from that zone of genius. It's really a great book, so I highly recommend reading that book as well. I actually finished reading that book maybe 2 books ago, so it's kind of still fresh in my mind. Highly recommend that book. It's such a good book. But okay, she goes on to say, his theory is that people have a predisposed tolerance for happiness. And when our emotions exceed that limit, we begin to unconsciously self-sabotage in order to bring ourselves back to a more comfortable baseline. Any change, no matter how positive, will be uncomfortable until it is also familiar. The same with eating, the same with your diet, the same with changing your cravings. At first, it's going to be like, ooh, especially when you start getting used to fermented foods. It really is an acquired taste. So at first you're like, what's this? I don't like it. I don't know. But the more you keep eating it and eating differently and eating more colorful and starting the day off with fruits and adding greens to every single meal, the body will start to change, adapt, grow, and start to crave it. And it will start to become familiar. 9 times out of 10, when we have certain food cravings, we just crave what we're most familiar with. So the goal is to just change what we're familiar with and get more familiar with the unfamiliar. Like, no, I feel like I'm rapping. No, but seriously, like it does make a huge difference in like the way we want to start eating and the way our body starts craving certain things. But okay, we're going back to how sometimes we got to be so uncomfortable until it is also familiar. Anytime you're looking to make a significant positive change in your life, A mindset shift must accompany it. If you don't believe you deserve to feel good, you'll limit your capacity for experiencing good things. If you're not used to life being easy, you'll make it hard to anchor yourself back down to what you're familiar with. Overcoming this is not a matter of overwhelming your system with positivity. No, because we don't want toxic positivity, none of that. It's actually a process of grounding yourself, expressing gratitude, and shifting your belief system to reflect the idea that you are allowed to feel good. You are allowed to create goodness in your life, and you deserve the beautiful things that are blossoming. You don't need to keep uprooting them. Number 2, you don't know all of your options yet. That is so true. The human mind cannot accurately predict what it hasn't yet known. When you imagine a potential outcome for your life, what you're really envisioning is a solution to a past experience, a feeling you've had before and would like to maintain. What you cannot account for are the things that you wouldn't think to ask for because you don't know that you want them. Real growth requires genuine exploration, a period of trial and error. It requires you to admit that you might not know what you want. Okay, keep going. Because sometimes I do think we know what we want. And sometimes I think that what we want kind of comes from what we don't have or what we think we might deserve or things that we crave in or things that we lack. So I don't know. Sometimes what we want kind of comes from a space of lack. Like, oh, I don't have, so I want. And sometimes what we want comes from a space of abundance. Like, I just already know future me got that, so I need that. Like, it kind of, I don't know. So let's see where she go with this. Because I'm a little like, what y'all think? What y'all think? Does what we want kind of come from what we don't have, or does what we want come from like what we know we should be having? Or two could be the same conversation, but what's your thoughts on that? Real quick. Okay. So she goes on to say, this uncertainty is an unnerving experience. So most people avoid it completely. They numb out their fear of the unknown with mind-consuming activities, failing to realize that without allowing oneself to accept the unknown, the answers will always remain at bay. Instead of trying to construct an experience of happiness, we can find it in the moment if we're gearing our mindset to appreciating what we already have instead of planning how to acquire what we don't. Through this, we inch closer to what it is that actually makes us feel best, not what appears best or what should be right from the outside looking in. Okay. Number 3, you ignore that negative potential outcomes are more likely than the positive ones. When you imagine all of the possible outcomes for your life, the negative options probably seem more real than the positive ones. This is because of negativity bias, which is where we are inclined to believe that bad things are more real than good things because we're more afraid of them. Which is really interesting because I do feel like fear moves us, but I also feel like so does excitement. So, okay, let's see though. She keeps going on to say, because one appears as a threat and the other doesn't, our attention naturally gravitates towards what we feel we need to be more aware of. However, it is the opposite effect of self-defense. When we believe too much in our negativity biases, we end up resisting change, taking fewer chances, and overall adjusting to a less optimistic outlook on life. I think that is so true. As an Aries, or just as a fire sign, as an energetic person, I am extremely optimistic, but I don't know if that's all the way my Aries. I kind of like want to blame my childhood for that. I am extremely optimistic. I am. And sometimes it can be seen as naive. Like, dang, like, you don't think nothing bad gonna happen? No. Sometimes no. Sometimes yes, but sometimes no. And I'm just extremely optimistic about certain things. So I'm basically saying all that to say that I notice in certain conversations with people, with some of my clients, even some of my friends, sometimes I notice like, would you have this like pessimistic look on things if you had a different past? Probably not. So it does go on to say that a lot of the things that we think and that we want or that we have like goals around sometimes stems from past experiences that we don't want to keep on having. And sometimes I think that when we create certain goals from such a deep rooted space of like negativity, it tends to like breed fear. And I think fear and negativity tend to flirt. They tend to be in the kissing booth like, I like you, you like me. Like they go together real bad sometimes. And we don't really want that. But when we do have that, we need to recognize that we have that. And we are in that space where fear is breeding more negativity. And sometimes our negativity is coming from fear. So just recognizing that sometimes. One thing that I really want to say about our goals is that when we are thinking about our goals and who we want to be and how we want to feel, we want it to stem from a space of abundance, like constantly thinking about how you want to feel. So less thinking of, oh, I got to go on a diet because I'm fat and I don't like my body. And this is why I got to go to the gym and da. Like, no, you want to think from a space of, I want to have more energy. I want to fit into different clothes. I want to be able to feel vibrant and my gut health is in order and my skin is clear and I'm in a better mood and I have more mental clarity. Like thinking of how you want to feel, who you want to be versus what you don't want to feel and what you don't want to be. And it just creates this very, very weird and resentful energy around ourselves, our bodies, and our goals and our mindset. And we don't want that. We don't want that. And I recently threw a wellness vision board party. It was all virtual. It was so amazing, y'all. It was so amazing. But one of the guests there, like she really went in about how she doesn't have the greatest relationship with the word discipline. She was like, I don't really like the word discipline. It's a bit triggering for me. I really enjoy the word devotion. And it really took me back. And I was like, that is such a beautiful pivot out of a word that can make you feel like, dang, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that. Moving from a space of lack. Moving from sometimes a space of fear. Moving from that space can really dictate how we see ourselves and how we see our goals. So I definitely love the way devotion sounds. It's a nice little change. It's a shift into feeling more passionate, more dedicated, things like that. But I say all this to say, like, sometimes fear and negativity tend to flirt. And sometimes when we create goals from that space, we start to build like this unwarranted, resentful energy with ourselves. And we really, really don't want that. We don't want that. She then goes on to say, negativity bias limits us not because we aren't able to be realistic, but because we don't understand that positive outcomes are often more likely than worst case scenarios. They just aren't as emotionally triggering. So sometimes we need to investigate that. Why do we want to go the more triggering route, the more emotionally triggering route? Why do we want to go that way sometimes? And sometimes we want to go that way because it's the most familiar. We can predict it. Disappointment, we can predict it. And it's just small things like that, like changing what's familiar. It kind of goes back to changing what's familiar and getting comfortable with what's unfamiliar. Okay, so the number 4 goes, you're staying loyal to what you've put a lot of time into, even if it's not really what's right for you in the long term. You're most inclined to stick to what you've invested in the most, even if it's unviable long term. And even if a better opportunity is presenting itself. This is because of the sinking cost fallacy. What this bias prevents us from seeing is that the ship is sinking anyway. And every additional ounce of effort, time, or resource that we put into it is yet another bit that we lose. We can't salvage it just because we spent so much time believing in it. Sometimes even the things that we've given everything to just are not what's best for us in the long term. It's hard to let go, but it's also harder not to. Okay, she's spitting. Okay. Then she goes on to say 5, you are giving precedence to what you believed first. Sometimes that's true. The brain tends to prioritize and overvalue whatever it is that you did, knew, saw, or learned first. This makes it hard for change to occur. Your very first approach and assessment of your career prospects are anchoring what you believe is possible today. Your very first introduction to certain geographical areas or types of people is likely the same way. Whatever you were exposed to first or believed in first is going to take precedence in your mind. It is important that you're aware of this because when a better option presents itself, you have to be able to see it for what it is. Number 6, you're making a long-term assessment based on a short-term experience. When you declare that you'll never find love because you just went through a breakup, or consider yourself fundamentally awful looking because you're not loving your outfit today, or you're sinking in that feeling that you'll never find your way in life because you feel lost right now, what you're doing is extrapolating. Extrapolation is the projection of a single experience into a long-term assumption about life. I hope I'm pronouncing that word right, extrapolation. And then it goes on to say, this moment is not your life. This is a moment in your life, by Ryan Holiday. What you're not realizing is that just because you're temporarily having a negative experience does not mean that it will define the rest of your life in the way that you fear it will. Why is she dragging us like this? Like, why is she eating us up like this? Like, it's like a gentle hug, but a kind drag. Like, what? keep going, keep going. What you're really saying is that you can't see a way out of your current circumstances because in some way you don't completely control them. Instead of trying to form a definitive statement about how your life is or isn't or will or won't be based on your temporary circumstances, try to see them for what they really are. An experience you're having currently that will eventually fade as all others do. Yes, feelings really are temporary, but they are information. They do tell us a lot about what we need to know and how we need to move moving forward. But then she goes on to say 7, you're using self-reflection as an escape mechanism rather than a way to actually change your life. When I tell y'all for years, all I used to do is read self-help books. When I tell you, all my favorite books are self-help books. Big Magic, The Power of Now, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The 5 a.m. Club, The Course in Miracles. What's the book from Marianne Williamson? A Return to Love. All of my favorite books are self-help books. It's really wild. I just love them so much. And I used to always talk about this in therapy, like, oh my God, why are all my favorite books self-help books? Is it because I'm a health coach? Is it because I'm a nutritionist? Like, what is it that I'm like psychologically like so passionate and I love to indulge into self-growth, like and self-development? And my therapist was gently like, you might be spending too much time fantasizing growth and not really experiencing it. And I just was like, who are you talking to like that? Actually, who are you talking to like that? Cause she's right. Cause she's really right. Like she's so right about that. I'm like, dang. So yeah, sometimes I do feel like we use so much self-reflection as an escape mechanism rather than a way to actually change our lives. Like sometimes I will journal, then actually get up and do the things that I know I need to do to feel better. Sometimes journaling does feel better, but I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but sometimes I will have a habit of like getting fixated on reflection, fixated on how I feel, and not really stepping into something different or being a little bit more proactive with change and getting up out of the rumination stage and really like taking action. Because sometimes I'm also like, oh my God, if I take action, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Or if I take action, what if I fail? Or if I take action, what if it don't go right? If I take action and what if I don't like it? So many things happen mentally where I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know what's gonna happen. You have no idea what's gonna happen. Take the action and see what's gonna happen. And one thing about me and one thing about just life, period, we know how to pivot and we know how to make things shake and we know how to shift and we know how to get up out of there at any moment. Like, oh, actually, I don't like this. So let me go. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm basically saying all this to say that sometimes we need to actually stop reflecting so much and go out and live and be the change that we say we want to see and we say that we want to experience in the world. So she goes on to say, so when we begin something new in our lives, it's almost always because we have a revelation about it or ourselves. We realize that we need to course correct. We have an aha moment about the people we want to be. We let go of what's holding us back. We find courage and we embark upon our new path. This is often where people find themselves in a slump. While many people think that the process of releasing the past and embracing the future is scary, it's also very freeing. So freeing, in fact, that the high of having epiphanies and life-changing realizations can sometimes eclipse the actual implementation of them. Oh my God, you're so high. You're like, oh my God, you're fantasizing the ideas. And this is also why sometimes creators have so many ideas. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. But the actual implementation of it leave you on stuck slump. It's true. It's really true. So the honest truth is that no matter what you choose to do or be in life, to do it well and long term, everything will become boring and monotonous at some point, one way or another. That's sometimes the reality of life. While you'll undoubtedly feel more peace and fulfillment pursuing what's really right for you, you're going to have down days. You're going to have periods of burnout. You're going to have moments of second guessing yourself. And you're absolutely going to realize that it's often far more exciting and thrilling to decide to totally uproot and start again than it is to simply stick with the path day in and day out. Oh my God. This book is so good. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, we got space for one more chapter, right? Yeah, we got space for one more chapter. Okay, so the name of this chapter is Everything That's Truly Right for You Will Make You Feel at Peace. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is dragging everyone who sometimes used to chaos or chooses chaos. I know when I was in my 20s, I was choosing chaos. I was like, everything is for the plot. And now in my 30s, I'm like, ooh, that's triggering my central nervous system. That's actually making me very anxious and nervous. Don't love that. Won't do that. But I am now realizing that what is really right for us really will bring peace. So then she goes on to say, everything that is meant for you will feel like a deep exhale, as though you are returning home to a place you forgot existed. We so often yearn for and want the things that help us escape who we are. But the things that are actually meant for us, the ones that arrive and stay, they make us feel a sense of steady calm. We do not need to be swept off our feet, but grounded through them. In the moment is where love really exists. The moment is the only place we can come alive. Everything that is truly right for you will make you feel at ease. Everything that is truly right for you will feel so simple, so obvious, and so comfortable. Everything that is truly right for you will choose you as quickly as you choose it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. She's spitting. She's spitting. Everything that is truly right for you will happen serendipitously and spontaneously. It will come to you when you expect it and when you don't, as both a surprise and a certainty. It will, oh my God. It will be such an obvious fact of your life and yet entirely new all at once. It's so good. We often come to believe that the things that are most right for us are the ones that give us the biggest emotions, and that is a mistake. The things that are truly right for us give us the deepest emotions. Love is a pervasive, steady presence, not a heart-pumping dash of lust. Destiny is a subtle coincidence, and it makes you stop and say, well, isn't this funny how it worked out? Isn't this funny how it worked out? Okay, keep going. What's right for us isn't a harsh declaration. It isn't something we have to force or wonder about for too long. It isn't something that leaves us looking for signs. It doesn't require us to poll our friends to gather their opinions. It doesn't leave us questioning, grieving, self-doubting. It doesn't put us on hold. It doesn't feel as though we have to grab it before it's gone, but rather that it will always be there waiting for us when we're ready. Oh my God. The things that are most right for us are also the easiest to miss because they are often subtle at first. Little things become big things over time. We just have to give them a chance to. We just have to stay the course. We just have to realize that life will magnetize to us what is meant to be ours. Always, always. Sometimes our only job is to step out of the way. And I know how hard it is to believe that the right things will find you in a world where they so often haven't. In a life where you felt so deeply disappointed and disillusioned, it will sometimes take every ounce of faith for you to muster up to believe that there is indeed a greater path. Sometimes you won't believe in it at all, and that's okay. The right things will find you in the same exact way that everything else has. Everything that's ever come and everything that ever will, it was brought to life by your presence and your participation. The right things don't often have to be chased, but rather pursued. They don't have to be convinced to stay, but rather committed to. They are not things that we discover one day, but inklings that are offered to us, instances of opportunities upon in which we begin to build our lives. When we go out looking for our soulmate relationships, we are often discouraged to find a sea of fellow humans, all broken and lost in their own ways. Slowly, we discover that people who are most meant for us are not only the ones with whom we have an instant electric connection, but also the ones in whom we can grow with, walk with, evolve with. The roots of great love stories are planted slowly over the years, with each turn you take together, each lesson learned. The love you desire is the one you create with someone who is as equally willing to expand with you as you are with them. We do not lose love when we lack passion. We lose it when we lack any further potential for growth. Oh my God. When we go out looking for our day jobs, our life purpose, we are often discouraged to find that every path presents a mountain of challenges. And through the process, every one of our fears about our potential unworthiness comes to the forefront. We mistakenly believe that pursuing our dreams would be something that helped us escape from being so human, when it is, in fact, the very way we become most human. What we are looking for is not a life path that is easy, but one that is worthwhile, one that we are willing to hurt for, to reach for, to stretch for, one where the difficulty doesn't become a deterrent, but a subtle motivator. One where we can go home at the end of the night, close our eyes, and feel at ease with the fact that we tried our best towards something that really mattered in our lives or in someone else's, and that itself is enough. This is really good. This book is really good. When we wake up each day and wonder how we might design an existence that honors and reveals the deepest layers of who we really are, we are often brought to realize that no matter how much conscious intention we infuse into our days, there are always variables, always the world beyond us, raging beyond our control. What we are looking for is not a way to convince ourselves that our bubble of serenity is all that exists, but to create our own personal safe haven as a constant reminder that it is possible to make a beautiful way within this world. It is possible to always return home to yourself. That's really beautiful. That's actually really beautiful. The things that are truly right for you will make you feel at ease, and not because they are simple or easy or perfect right away. They will make you feel peace because you know that you are meant for them, for better or for worse. They will make you feel at peace because you will quickly realize that within this whole universe, to have one soul in front of you, one task that is uniquely yours, one body through which a temporary breath sustains you is an improbable miracle that you are living through right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Keep going, Bree. Keep going, Bree. The things that are truly right for you will find you and they will stay. They will grow, challenge you, and change you. Most of all, they will not exist in the distance, in the future, in a potential version of reality. It is their undeniable presence that will ultimately put your heart at ease. Y'all, what do we think? What do we think? Oh my God, that was so good. That was literally so good. What do we think? Because in the next chapter is you have to practice letting go. Y'all already know the next chapter gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But y'all, what do we think about this? What do we take away from it? What hit us home the most? Oh my God. It was so many great things. It was so many great gems. She really dropped a heavy load on us in a very beautiful way, in a very serene way as well. But I would say that my biggest takeaway was we don't know all of our options yet. And one quote that I like to think about when I think about that as well is we haven't met all the people that will love us yet. We haven't. So sometimes when I think about that, I'm like, I haven't even met some of my best friends yet. I haven't met my best love experiences yet. I haven't even met the best version of me yet. So sometimes I think like, yeah, we don't even know all of our options. Stay present, stay grounded, stay rooted. Oh, it dropped again. So that's really what I took away from it the most. Please drop down in the comments what stood out to you the most. What's one thing you want to step into? What books are y'all reading? Let me know. Drop down in the comments. Please talk to me because I like to talk back. Y'all. I'm so grateful that y'all watched this far. I'm so grateful that y'all been tuning into Full Cup. Please let me know if there's any other videos that y'all want to see. As of right now, I am loving this Full Cup series. It is something about reading and processing things together. And it's just something about sharing our experiences with self-love and growth and passion and determination and drive that is all so healing and so arousing and just honestly so inspiring. It's very inspiring. So y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, and tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Love y'all. Big love. Not the little one. Not the little one.
But I got one then kill Sovoma. I try to buy moto, Toyota Corolla. My feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Now you crash your Ferrari for Leggy Bona. Now some more to make with that pain all over. My feelings today swing like Django Lover. Feelings today swing like Timbani catch.